Well, good morning, everyone from Cincinnati, Ohio. My name is Nick Paddock, and welcome to the UC Fall 2020 Updates webinar. So I'm excited to have you here. I see a lot of familiar names registered for the event and a lot of new names, so welcome. Today, we're going to talk for about an hour and give you as much information as we can about UC overall. There's been a lot of changes, you're all aware, and a lot of concerns. So during this hour, we're going to try to address everything we can to update you. If you have any questions at all, please type them in the chat feature. Our coworker Maria Mallory is running the chat, and she'll do her best to answer your questions. I'm working alongside my coworker Sara Mackey to present this content today. We do ask that you mute your microphone and turn off video camera during this time. So we'll jump right into introductions. Sara, you there?
I'm here. Good evening, everyone, or good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Sara Mackey. I'm the Assistant Director of International Recruitment and Outreach here at UC. I work closely with all of our global offices, so I know many of you have worked with Kushla and Priyanka in India, or our team in China or in Vietnam. And so thank you for joining us, and we look forward to being able to update you on all of the changes that have happened over the past few months.
Thank you, Sara. And like I said, my name is Nick Paddock. I'm a Senior Admissions Counselor in the International Admissions Office. So I work on the marketing and communication side of everything. So if you receive any emails from us, it's from myself and my coworker. We help coordinate all that. And for our events as well, I help coordinate those. And my area that I work with is the Southeast Asia territory and the Sub-Saharan African territory. So as you can see, we have many topics to talk about. This is a quick view of all the topics. So first we'll start off with what's really important, all of your concerns over immigration. And then we'll talk about the new Bearcats Everywhere Scholarship, and then talk about Bearcats Bound Orientation, the town hall and the modules students need to work through before attending this fall. Of course, you've got many questions about classes. How will these be organized online? So we'll go through that process. Many have been emailing and calling about UC health insurance. Is it needed or not? How do you waive that? And additional housing. Not everyone's going to need housing anymore. So how do we waive our housing? Additionally, the fall bill will roll out soon. So we'll talk to you a bit about that, and then promote our next event, which we're excited about, and then take all of your questions. So of course, during this entire presentation, you can ask as many questions as you'd like in the chat feature. And at the end, we can answer more questions. Ready, Sara? We'll jump in.
I'm ready. So we're going to start with immigration. There has been a lot of confusion over immigration and visa concerns the past few weeks. So we wanted to be able to give you a general overview in today's presentation. Before I get into this, I do want you to know, while my actual background is in immigration, at UC International Admissions, we do not work in immigration and creating your I-20. That process is done through our UC International Services Office. So while I may be able to answer some general questions and to go over the general information you need to know today, we have to defer, kind of the expertise lies in a different office. And so many of the questions we may have to direct to international services and get back to you on. So now that that disclaimer is out of the way, as many of you know, a few weeks ago, our Department of Homeland Security issued a statement regarding a policy change. And essentially what this statement said was that international students who are at universities that are operating all online in the fall will not be able to stay in the US and maintain their active immigration status. However, last Monday, after many universities and US states kind of disapproved of this policy change, the government rescinded this regulation and deferred back to their March statement regarding course enrollment. So here's what this means for our UC students. So for current F1 students, now what does that mean? So this is any F1 student who was present in the US at the time the pandemic started and was enrolled either in a US high school or another US university and is now intending on being at UC in the fall. So these students can, in fact, enroll in all online courses this fall while maintaining their active immigration status. It also means any of our current UC students who may have gone back to their home country and decided they'd rather study online in the fall and not come back to the US, they will continue to maintain their active F1 status, which means they do not have to get a new I-20 or apply for a new visa as long as their visa continues to be valid. So that's for current students. For new F1 students, so this is most of you, most of our students are not going to be able to obtain a visa in time for our start date next month, which is August 24th. Most of you have opted to study online in the fall. So for students who are able to obtain a visa, I know there's a few of you that have late July or early August visa appointments. This March guidance, unfortunately, does not apply to you. So what this means is if you are able to come to us in the US, to Cincinnati, and enroll for us in person on in-person courses on our campus, you have to be able to have a full course of study. So what that means is undergraduate students must have at least 9 credit hours of in-person courses, and Pathway or ESL students must be enrolled all of their courses in person. So it is very important, if you are one of the few students who can get their visa and arrive on campus in the fall, that you work with your advisor to make sure that you have enough in-person courses to maintain your visa or your immigration status. And I'm sure I'll answer more questions about that at the end. But if you are studying outside of the US, which again is most of you, you can study online courses from abroad. That is not an issue, but you will not be able to use this time towards meeting the eligibility for your OPT and CPT. You are also not permitted to be hired by UC or by any other company and work remotely overseas. So if you're studying online in the fall, you do not currently have an F1 visa, you're fine. Just know that this time will not count towards accruing your CPT or OPT eligibility. A few other concerns related to enrollment. If you join us on campus in the fall, you are not eligible to receive the Bearcat Everywhere Scholarship. So that's one thing to be aware of. The scholarship is specifically for students who cannot study with us in person in the fall. And the other thing that you need to keep in mind is UC is requiring a mandatory quarantine for anybody who is traveling, whether it's students, faculty, or staff, anybody who's traveling from abroad into the US. So not only do you have to arrive in time for our start date, which is August 24th, you also have to quarantine for 14 days before then. So the absolute latest time you could join us on campus in the fall would be if you could arrive on our campus by August 10th. So these are all things you have to keep in mind if you're one of those few students that have a visa appointment in the next few weeks to join us for fall classes. So moving on to January 2021 intake. So for students who either plan to A, start online in the fall or defer your enrollment to spring semester, you will need a new I-20. Our International Services Office has not yet issued a date for when they plan to start creating spring I-20s. However, I know many of you are a little nervous because your nearest consulate or embassy has already indicated that they're going to start allowing visa appointments to be scheduled. So if your closest embassy or consulate is resuming visa appointments and you can get dates in the next month or two, please contact UC International Services at their email and request a new I-20. Nick and I will be working closely to ensure that when they do have a set date for when they're going to start processing spring 2021 I-20s, you are aware. But in this time or in this current situation, just email them if you're able to secure a visa appointment soon. Some other situations that I've had questions on in the last few weeks that I also want to go over. So there are a few of you that have like that weird situation where you have an early August visa appointment to try to get in for fall. Again, if you're not able to arrive on our campus by August 10th, you cannot join us for in-person fall classes. So if you obtain your visa with your fall start date sometime in August, but you can't get to campus in time to quarantine and physically start with us, your visa will remain valid. So you don't have to worry about applying for a new visa. You will just need a new I-20 that indicates the January 2021 start date. A lot of you have asked questions about, well, if I get my visa in September or October, can I come to the US then? The answer is no, because current immigration regulation, this rule has been in place since I've been working in this field, indicates that you are not eligible to come to the US you have to come within 30 days of your start date. So meaning if you're starting in-person classes in January, the earliest you could arrive would be early December. So even if you obtain your visa in September, October, November, if your start date of your program for in-person classes indicates January 11th, then the earliest that you could physically arrive in the US would be December 11th. So all things to keep in mind. I know a lot of you have questions. We're going to kind of wait for those types of questions till the end of this presentation. Some of them we'll be able to answer, and then some of them we might have to defer to our services. That's a general overview. Immigration is complex, and so we have a really great team here, and UC International Services that's always happy to help. And I think we'll move on to the other important things we're going to talk about today.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
So Bearcats Everywhere Scholarship is a new scholarship that we're offering for fall semester only. And this scholarship is only for students who are not coming to the US. So for anyone who's living outside the US and is simply not coming for this fall semester, can be awarded the scholarship. The total amount of the scholarship is essentially the non-residential surcharge from your campus. So I know we have students here from Uptown Main campus, the UC Blue Ash campus, and the UC Claremont campus. So that non-resident surcharge may differ depending on the tuition you're paying at the campus you're attending. So for the numbers here on the screen, this is for the Uptown Main campus. And you can see here the non-resident surcharge is $7,667. So if you receive no global or outreach scholarships from UC, your total Bearcats Everywhere Scholarship would be $7,667. So we'll cover that whole non-resident surcharge. If you did receive outreach scholarships or a global scholarship, we'll deduct that from the Bearcats Everywhere Scholarship. So essentially our goal is to have you pay in-state tuition, right, with student fees, that everyone's kind of paying that in-state tuition with student fees. If you're a student who was awarded a very large scholarship, about over $15,300, essentially you won't have to worry about the scholarship at all because you're paying less than in-state tuition with student fees. Okay, so hopefully, most of you will benefit from this scholarship, and you'll see the value in receiving an education this fall online because of the lower cost in tuition. Okay, as far as the process of applying, we did send an email out yesterday with directions on how to apply. So simply, you can see on the screen, you log into your Catalyst account, select scholarship search, and then fill out the actual form and submit. When that's submitted, our UC team will review your location, to check to see if you completed all the Bearcats Bound orientation modules, and then we'll follow up with you within 10 days to notify you that you've received the scholarship.
And just to add, to restate in a different way what Nick has already said, this is called a last dollar scholarship. So as Maria indicated in the chat, if you have received global or outreach or any other departmental scholarship, those will be factored in first. And then if those scholarships do not get you to what is the equivalent of our non-resident surcharge deducted, Bearcats Everywhere will top up.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. All right.
So Bearcats Bound orientation, town hall, and modules. Nick might have a little bit more to say, but on this, you must attend Bearcats Bound Town Hall and complete all modules. This is important because this is our orientation platform. It will introduce you to campus, a little bit more about your academic college and things that you need to know. but also by completing your Bearcats Bound Town Hall, this check marks our box to let us know that you are somebody who needs to be pre-registered for courses. So at this time, if you have not completed a Bearcats Bound Town Hall, you must go in and register and complete all of the modules in, I think it's Canvas, in order to be pre-registered for your classes in the fall. This will also give you an opportunity to meet your student orientation leader or SOL. We have a number of amazing student orientation leaders from around the world that are able to really address your concerns, give you an idea of what online classes will be like in the fall. And so again, these are kind of your check mark things that you need to do. This is our first time doing this online, so usually this process is done when you arrive on campus. So it's very important that you do this so we can get you registered for classes. Nick, do you have anything else that you want to say about that?
Yeah, I'd like to add that there are 9 modules. So there is some work you've got to go through. So essentially you do have to start with the town hall first, and then you take module 1 and complete it before you can move on to module 2. Okay. And again, you know, Sara talked about the student orientation leaders. They are fantastic current students at UC. Some are from the US, some are international students, and they are here to connect with you all, to talk with you about life at UC and their experiences and share their resources with you. So I know you receive a weekly email. You should be receiving a weekly email with information from that student orientation leader. So I encourage, if you haven't at this point, you know, chat with them. They're ready to speak with you and share their knowledge with you.
And fun fact, Maria shared with us, our colleague at UC International Admissions, that she's still best friends with her SOL that she met on her first year orientation. So it's also a good way to like meet friends and be introduced to campus as a whole.
Yes. All right, so online classes and registration. So we know you have a lot of questions about this process. Essentially, when you finish the modules for Bearcats Bound orientation, you'll be signed up for your classes, okay? So each of our 9 colleges for undergraduate students, you know, has a different process that their academic advisors follow to register you for classes. So you can bet that when you finish those modules, your academic advisor will go ahead and register you for all the necessary courses for your first semester. You then can follow up with your academic advisor because that information is within your account to follow up with them and talk more about your classes, or if you want to change a class that you're assigned or change the time of day that it is, you are welcome to do that. There are 3 different types of classes that we're offering this fall online. So we have synchronous classes, asynchronous classes, and hybrid. So synchronous classes are classes that meet online on a schedule, right? So if the class is at 9 a.m. here in Cincinnati, Ohio, it will meet at that time on Monday, every single Monday. So that can create some complications for international students because we know you all live in a different part of the world at a different time, right? So you know, for many of our classes, we're hoping they'll be asynchronous. Essentially, it'll be online with no set schedule, right? You may have due dates for assignments and exams, but you don't have to wake up at 8 a.m. to attend the class every Monday, for example. And then hybrid classes, those are for students who are coming to campus, who will either live in the community around campus or live in one of our residence halls to attend the class online partially and partially in person. So right now, all the colleges are working through the class offerings to decide what will be asynchronous, synchronous, and hybrid. So as those decisions are made, they're updated in Catalyst. And you can see here on the right, you can see a listing of what the courses will look like when you log in to see your schedule. Okay, and to see your schedule, you will log into Catalyst and click My Academics, and then View My Schedule. So for some of you, you may already have your schedule and you don't even know it yet. So I would encourage you to log into Catalyst now and click on My Academics and View My Schedule to see, okay? Because some of the academic advisors may or may not have reached out to you at this point due to the volume of work that they have to do to get all the students on board and scheduled. Sara, do you have anything to add to this?
No, I think definitely log into, like Nick said, definitely log into your Catalyst and see if you have not heard from your academic advisor or had them help you through that process. It's possible that you were registered for all online courses already, and then you can work with your college's academic advisor to potentially tweak your schedule if needed. UC Health Insurance. So I am on the WhatsApp group for our South Asia confirmed students, and I know we've gotten a lot of questions about health insurance over the past few weeks. So here are the basics. You are not required to purchase or pay for health insurance if you are not going to be in the US this fall. However, you have to notify us that this is the case, and you have two different options to do that. The first is to apply for our Bearcat Everywhere Scholarship, which the application opened on Monday. And once your application is approved and the award is applied to your UC account, then the UC Health Office will automatically remove the student health insurance charge from your bill. Again, this scholarship is only for students outside of the US, so that indicates to us that you are not physically present in the US, therefore you don't need health insurance. So as long as you apply for that Bearcat Everywhere Scholarship, there are no extra steps that you need to take in order to have your health insurance waived for the fall term. If you're one of the students who either does not qualify for the Bearcat Everywhere Scholarship because you have, other scholarships that exceed that amount, for any other reason, you have to submit a document to our health insurance office, which will serve as proof that you will be in your home country for the fall 2020 semester. So you can do this a few different ways. Confirmation from your academic advisor that you've worked with them, your course schedule is all online, you're in your home country. A plane ticket from the United States to your home country dated in the last 6 months. That's more for current students. Or an official document from your parents listing all family members who live in your house in your home country. So those are the two different ways. Again, Bearcats Everywhere Scholarship, or giving the health office some kind of confirmation that you will not need health insurance this fall by submitting one of those documents. Those are your options. Nick, anything to add that I didn't cover on that?
Nope.
Oh.
Thank you. So we know that you all planned to come to this fall to the campus and move in. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen at this point, but it will. We know it will at some point, hopefully spring semester. So for those of you who applied for housing, you paid that application fee of $50 and paid that deposit of $100, you will need to file an exemption form with the housing office to explain that you won't be coming to campus. So essentially on that form, they've added an additional link to say that you will be taking online classes and remaining at home. There are a few questions in that form to ask, who will be your landlord? You could put your parents, right? What will your address be? So you can add some of that content just to let the office know where you'll be and that you'll be safe, essentially. For spring semester, the application will open October 1st, and I'll send an email to all of you to let you know. So you'll have to reapply for housing for spring semester. And you might ask, why should I reapply since I've already filled out the application once? We have about 7,000 students that live on campus. So that's a lot of application, a lot of names to keep organized. So in order to be most thorough for spring semester, we're asking all students that aren't coming to campus to simply reapply. What's great is the housing office is going to hold on to that $50 application fee and that $100 deposit fee in their account. So essentially when you reapply October 1st or right after, you won't have to pull out a credit card or another bank account card to pay that fee and that deposit fee again, essentially. Okay, if you have more questions about this, I encourage you to go to the housing webpage to contact the housing office to talk further about this. Whoa.
So your fall semester bill. A little bit about this. So your bill will be available in Catalyst by likely the end of July. Your bills are always due 5 days before the start date of the semester. So again, our start date is August 24th. Fall semesters will be due August 19th. There's a few ways that you can pay your bill. Online payment via credit card. Again, there's a service fee on credit cards. It's 2.75%. So most of our international students choose to use Flywire, which is an international wire transfer, to pay their online bills. So those are your two options. Before you pay your bill, look at the statement and make sure that everything appears correct. It's much easier for us to take things off of your bill before you've paid than refund money internationally after you paid. So for example, make sure if you're studying in your home country that health insurance is taken off. While it should be taken off, if you've gone through that process, it's always good to just double check these things. So that's my biggest piece of advice when it comes to paying your bill. But again, these are due 5 days before the classes begin on August 24th. If you go to our Bursar's website, they have more information, a frequently asked questions page. I think there are payment plans available. So if you aren't paying in a lump sum, I believe that you can pay over 3 installments throughout the semester. Our Bursar's office will have more information about how to set that up.
And to add, I know many of you might ask, where do you actually see your bill, right? So you log into your Catalyst account and click on My Finances and view My Bill, essentially. And if you want to see what financial aid you received as far as scholarships, within that same tile, you can click on Financial Aid and see the scholarships that you've been awarded. And that would include the Bearcats Everywhere Scholarship if you should receive it. Thanks, Sara. So we have a really cool event coming up on Wednesday, July 29th from 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is an event that's going to educate you all, including your parents, hopefully, if they'll attend, on what online learning looks like at the University of Cincinnati. So for the first hour, we have Michelle Huang, who works at the UC International Services Office, presenting about the process of taking online classes at UC. So she's going to walk students through what it looks like online, what resources are available, how to succeed in this whole process for about an hour, and then take all your questions and provide many answers. The next hour from 9 a.m. till 10 a.m. will be individualized conversations with you and your student orientation leader. So we're actually going to send you another link for a different webinar that you can join and speak with them in person, essentially virtually, about what the process was like for them last spring semester. And they're going to share how they coped and how they worked through the process of taking online classes and what resources they used, how they worked with their students virtually, their student peers virtually, to complete the tasks and prepare for exams. And then you can ask more questions. So we think this is going to be a really helpful event for all of you. I know we're excited about it. We're excited to have Michelle present and to have our student orientation leaders involved. So we'll be sending out an invitation for this right after this event. Okay? And if you have any more questions about it, please let me know. So now's our question and answer segment. I know we've seen many questions come in on the chat. I'm wondering, we did have a question about insurance. A student had asked, if they start on campus for the spring semester, do they pay a full, let's see, a full 12 months of health insurance from that point on? Sara Mackey?
So you will not be paying health insurance from for that fall semester. I believe our insurance is billed semesterly, so you would pay health insurance through the end of either the spring semester or summer semester start date. I don't know if they'll do it by the end of spring and then go through summer or through August. I'm not quite sure, but it is important that you have year-round coverage while you're in the US. And so as long as you're enrolled, you will be charged health insurance, but I believe it's broken up semesterly. We can double check on that for you, but I don't think it will be for the full year on your spring semester bill. Will likely be either through the spring or through the end of the summer term. We did get early on, some people have apparently tried to call me or tried to call our office. We should say that we are still working remotely. We have a staff member come in a few times a week to check for mail, but it is still your best bet is to email us if you have questions at this point, because we have been working from home since early March. and will likely continue to work from home mostly for the foreseeable future. We may have a few staff members in the office on a rotating basis, but we are still working from home.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in with a new question here. I think you see it too, Sarah. So we have a student asking about sending in final high school transcripts, and we know that for many of you, your high schools have been shut down, and you don't have a final transcript, or you're working to take final exams. You can still register for classes and still begin at UC before that final transcript is sent in. Okay, so you can start classes on August 24th. If your high school releases your final transcript in October, you'd simply send it in at that time. So we're making accommodations for international students who are having this type of issue because we know it's a global issue. You want to add anything to that, Sarah?
Nope. Again,
Okay.
we're very flexible, not only with final high school transcripts or final documents, but also with our students who are applying for the next intake. Mail has been or getting documents has been an issue, and we're willing to work with you on that. I see another question about needing a visa if you take online classes. You do not, if you are planning on taking all online classes in your home country, you are not required to get a visa during that time. So it's not an issue if you're staying in your home country studying remotely this fall. However, if you join us in person in January, you will need a visa for that. And in order to apply for that visa, you will need a new I-20 listing your January start date. So eventually, it's been a very busy week, as you can imagine, or a very busy few weeks, few months for our International Services Office. So we are still trying to kind of process all of our current students' concerns. But our International Services Office will start issuing in mass spring I-20s soon. If you need it sooner than whenever they set that date, you can always email them and request that they create a new I-20 with a spring start date. Those I-20s will be emailed to you, and you can use those to apply for, schedule a visa appointment and apply for your visa.
So I'm seeing some questions about the immunization record. I'm going to have to check on that, to be honest. I would assume you don't have to send it in since you're not coming to campus. But since I don't work for the UC Health Office, I don't want to give you inaccurate information. So within the follow-up email to this webinar, we'll include a response about if you need to send in an immunization record or not. I assume not, but we want to have a 100% accurate answer.
Yes. And if you don't now, you will at some point.
Yes.
In fact, at my former university, I was the person in charge for health insurance, and I worked closely with the University of Cincinnati to craft our own health insurance and immunization policies. And UC does have a number of immunizations that you have to get and submit proof of. So before you arrive on our campus, you will have to submit that document. It might not be August, but if you come in January, you'll have to submit that to them for January.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I did see a question about, the ESL class 1069. If you have any questions about classes that you are enrolled in, want to talk about, drop, you need to contact your academic advisor in order to have that conversation. There's a question that came in about selecting your room for housing before the exemption form is filed. You do not need to log into your housing portal to select the building, the room, and your roommates at all. So you can simply submit the housing exemption form and essentially pause your housing till spring semester. We had another question about deferring to spring. We know that many of you are concerned about attending fall classes online and have checked in to see if you can defer to spring. We have been encouraging all to start fall semester, right? To take advantage of the lower tuition rate and to take advantage of the academic courses that are being offered online. Spring semester was very successful for our faculty and students when they went online, and we expect the fall semester to be even more successful. Additionally, it keeps you on track within your program. So if you're in a 4 or 5-year program and your program might have co-op, it will keep you on that schedule you need to work through in order to complete all the required courses and the required experiential learning for that program. Sarah, would you like to add anything about deferring to spring?
At the end of the day, We know that there are a lot of concerns regarding online courses and the effectiveness or efficacy of online courses. However, our students and many of our international students have been pleased with our online courses instruction. And this fall, our faculty has really prepared to deliver courses in a way that is kind of robust and just like a similar experience you would get from face-to-face. I will say, I want to just emphasize again, because I've heard this concern again across the board in China, India, Vietnam, all of the other countries that we're working with. A lot of the feedback I'm getting from students and parents is about saving money, not wanting to start online in the spring when I could just save that money and start online in the fall when I could just save that money and start for the spring. Like Nick mentioned, it is very likely that if you start in the spring instead of the fall, you will actually have to spend more money and more time to obtain your degree. The reason for that is many UC programs, the courses are very structured, meaning a course that you need one semester might only be available semester A, and you need that course to take a following course in semester B. So if you start in the spring, the likelihood of you not having to take additional coursework either in the summer or adding on another semester, that likelihood is increased. Obviously, if you're spending an extra semester or two to graduate, you're going to be paying tuition for an extra semester or two. So we highly encourage students to start online in the fall. It is really kind of the best option, the best value. And if finances are your main concern at the end of the day, it's the best choice to make.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
We had another question about courses. Someone's enrolled in an online course. They need to be changed. Again, you should talk to your academic advisor to have those changes made. In addition, I will share that, the academic advising team for each college, they are still going through our online portal to update all the information for all the classes. So it may say in person at this point, but again, they're working through thousands of courses to update the information. So it may change to online, but again, reach out to your academic advisor. If you're not sure who your academic advisor is, you've not heard from them, please reach out to your student orientation leader, okay? That is one of their responsibilities, is to put you in touch with your staff from your college. And
Kind of going through all.
So if I receive my visa in October. So I have a question. So if I receive my visa in October, I can't come to campus till spring semester. That is correct.
That is correct. So if you have a visa appointment and you are not physically able to get to UC's campus and quarantine for 14 days before August 24th start date, your new start date then becomes January, even if you're taking online courses in the fall. So if you get your visa late August, September, October, November, your start date is going to be, I believe it is January 11th. I'll have to double check with international services, but immigration regulation states that you cannot physically come to the US more than 30 days before your start date. So if January 11th is your start date, even if you have a visa stamp in your passport in October, you cannot physically arrive to our campus until December 11th.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I have another question about the housing exemption form. On the form, it will ask you what your address or of intended residence is, who the property owner or leasing company is. Essentially, you can put down your parents and your home address. So that form is intended for students who are going to come to UC and typically move in with a relative near campus, and they want to, or live in a different property around campus, and they simply want to know where the student will actually be located. So again, for the housing exemption form, just put in your parents' address or wherever you're going to live and the people you're going to live with, okay?
We had a question that Maria answered, but I wanted to just kind of jump on and provide a little bit more information. Can we work online from our home countries and get paid this fall, co-op or otherwise? So all new incoming international students have to be enrolled in person for one full academic year before they are eligible for working. So whether that be an internship or a co-op program. Obviously, if you're taking online classes in your home country and you're working at your parents' shop or you're working retail, that's fine, that's your home country. But UC is not allowed, UC cannot grant you co-op or internship credit, nor will they provide any kind of work experience for you from abroad. That's not, we are not legally allowed to do that.
So I see a question, besides academics, how can I get involved in UC's other activities such as clubs, iPals, organization, research opportunities, teaching assistant opportunities? Are they available this online semester? So I do know that our organizations, on-campus organizations such as iPals and other clubs are going online with their activities. So they're going virtual. As the semester starts, you're going to receive a lot of information about these organizations and what events that they're organizing. As far as research opportunities, they're going to be a little different now since they're not on campus like they used to be. Well, they'll be on campus, but at a different volume, right? Those research opportunities, they're listed on our website. Once you start school in August, you will actually work with your academic advisor to find out what those opportunities are. So there may be some that can be a virtual opportunity and that your academic advisor can point you to. As far as being a TA, typically incoming first-year students are not teaching assistants for a class. So it's something that will happen later as you move up to a sophomore, junior, or senior level student.
I'm going back a little bit on these questions regarding, again, jobs, internships, co-op. If you are a U.S. citizen, none of this applies to you. Now, granted, I don't know how possible it will be or how likely it will be that UC will hire someone to work remotely out of country or out of the U.S. As a new student. But if you are a U.S. citizen, rules around CPT or OPT do not apply to you. Another question that I wanted to speak to that Maria already answered that I see we have again is you will not be required to complete the service portion to maintain, or community service portion to maintain your scholarship this fall. They are waiving that requirement.
So I'm seeing a couple questions about what lab courses will look like this fall semester. I have heard from some academic advising teams that certain lab courses that are offered first semester for incoming freshmen will be offered at a later semester. So you'd simply take that class spring semester when you're on campus, or summer or fall, depending on when you're here, okay? And they would switch out another class within your fall semester course.
We have a question. Do I need a new I-20 for a visa appointment during September? I booked using the I-20 I received last month. Yes, you will need a new I-20, but you do not have to worry about rebooking your visa appointment. You will need to reach out to our International Services Office via email to request a new I-20 for a spring start date and let them know that you have a visa appointment scheduled in September. Your CVIS ID, which is the number on your I-20 that indicates that you have to fill out to get a visa appointment, that will stay the same. So you do not have to reschedule your visa appointment. You just need to make sure that you have a new I-20 with a January start date before you go to your visa appointment in September.
So I see a question about when is the pre-Bursar agreement due? Can I complete it after I receive the Bearcats Everywhere Scholarship? Yes. So you should receive notification of the scholarship offering within the next 10 days. It actually should be faster. And then you can submit the pre-Bursar agreement.
We have questions about immunization records currently in the for students that are currently in the U.S. and need to get a vaccination or some kind of immunization done to fulfill that requirement. you will need to talk to our health office about ways to get that vaccination. I believe most of them, most of the vaccinations are available at our health office. UC has not only their own medical campus and hospital, but we have a health services office. But you'll need to talk to them in order to see where you can get that done before coming to campus.
So I see a follow-up question about taking online lab courses. If you are currently enrolled in an online lab course, you should take it. So they have adapted some of the online lab courses that can be adapted to be virtual. So if you are enrolled in it, go ahead and take that course. For some other courses, some other lab offerings that I mentioned that are much more complex and need to be in person, those will be adjusted on your schedule.
Right. And again, this is one semester. So if you're starting with us your freshman year, all freshmen, whether they like it or not, all undergraduate students in the US have to take a lot of different courses, not only related to their major, but also what we call general education requirements. So this semester, you might be able to take a lab course that they have adapted to be able to be delivered virtually, but a lot of the courses that you would have to take are much more easily readily available online. All students have to take a English course or multiple English courses. Many students have to take a cultural diversity course. There's just a lot of different courses that are easily adapted to an online component that will be that you'd have to take regardless if you were here or there. So it's one semester. Go ahead.
Can I jump in? I do see a question about how could some handmaking classes from DAP operate remotely this fall? So the College of Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning, or as we call it, DAP, they're going totally online for fall semester. So actually no undergraduate students will be in the building at all unless they need to use one of their tech labs. For the classes, the class structure for that college, it is set up in a very strategic way, first year through the 5th year. So in regards to taking those classes, you simply can't shift your classes around to take certain classes next semester because it won't align with the, what am I trying to say, Sarah? It won't align with the order of the classes you need to take.
The course curriculum is very strategic. In order to take one class, you have to have the prerequisite for the other class. And those courses are only available certain semesters and certain sequences. So this is, again, why we say it's better to start online in the fall than to defer to the spring, because each college has had the last few months to really design their curriculums in a way that makes sense for students starting fall semester, whether you're international or domestic. And so if you start in spring, the colleges are more flexible, of course, to that this year than in years past, but you will likely have to really work to move classes around. You might have to take an extra semester or two of classes in order to graduate, which will result in more costs for you at the end of the day. UC, again, we have decided on going hybrid this fall. About 40% of universities in the US are doing some kind of hybrid component. At UC, that means that the vast majority of our classes, I want to say over 80%, are being delivered on online formats. So we are really working to ensure the quality of our online course delivery across the board, but also to ensure that you have virtual experiences to engage with students, to join clubs, to do all of that. This isn't a university where, all 40,000 of our domestic students will be on campus and our international students are left out. The reality is that most of our students, whether they're US citizens or they're international, they will be taking all, if not most, of their courses online in the fall. So we've really intentionally structured our courses and our offerings to be tailored virtually this semester, mostly out of the health and safety of our students. We have a very large campus. We're in a very urban setting. And so this is the path that we took. And because we took this path, we are being very intentional about everything that we do in the kind of the virtual setting.
And I will add, for questions about your courses or how are art classes going to be offered, how's a faculty member going to create curriculum for that, you should reach out to your academic advisor. to get more information about the particular course that you're asking. So for more information about, and that academic advisor may put you right in touch with the professor to have that discussion. Okay.
Do you have anything else to add before I jump on another question, Nick?
Nope.
I see we have another question regarding CCM pathway, possible for online classes. So the pathway program is working to have all of their classes online. Most of our pathway students will start online classes in their home country. For questions specifically about your curriculum or about the CCM pathway program and how they're going to do music lessons or music instruction, contact our pathway program manager, Sara Shepard. She will help you understand how that is all going to work.
So I see a question about when do I pay my fees and tuition? Is it by semester or annually? It is by semester. So you can go ahead and pay fall semester through fall and then spring semester through spring. As far as accessing books needed and materials needed for class, before the semester starts, faculty will send you an email and send an update to you about materials that you'll need for your class. Since everything is online, you can expect all your materials to be offered online. So it's wonderful that most books are offered online now and don't need to be actually physically purchased in a store.
We have a question here. My rotation is supposed to start this summer. Could I take CPT even though I'm taking classes online this semester? So if you were supposed to start a co-op rotation this summer, I assume that means you're a current UC student. So you will need to contact UC International Services regarding co-ops abroad. And also if they say that's allowed, talking to your academic advisor in your program to see what is possible regarding co-ops for you this term.
I do see a question from a student. I have already attended the Bearcats Bound Orientation Town Hall. Congratulations, thank you. And also registered for my classes, but still Catalyst shows an advising registration block. What do I do? For any sort of complication that you're seeing within Catalyst, reach out to your student orientation leader. Okay, so again, they're your resource to figure out what you need to do to resolve any sort of block that's on your account. So they may point you in the direction of talking to the one-stop office, or point you in the direction to talking to your academic advisor, or point you in a different direction to talk to the Bursar's office. So there's many different offices on campus. We all specialize in certain things, and your student orientation leader, your soul, is that one person you can go to figure out which direction to go to fix any problem that you might have.
My next question, so if we come in the spring, will we be allowed to work from next fall? As you said, we are only allowed to work after 1 year of living in the US. So let me rephrase this. You start accruing CPT eligibility, which is your ability to participate in co-ops, internships, or any work related to your program that is off campus after 1 year of being enrolled in an academic program in the US. So for you, that will be spring, summer, and a couple weeks into fall. Likely you will, depending on if you're DAP or if you're in a co-op required program, so DAP or the College of Engineering and Applied Science, both of them have tracks for many of their programs where you either start your co-op in the fall semester of year 2 or the spring semester of year 2. So it's likely that you will start your co-op on the spring semester of year 2. That doesn't mean that you can't work on campus. All international students are allowed to work on on-campus jobs immediately when they come to the US. You're allowed to work on campus up to 20 hours per week. So if you were to join us in January, you're welcome to try to get an on-campus job. There are many available. A lot of them are highly competitive, but you will likely won't start your co-op rotations if you're in a required co-op program until you probably won't start until spring semester of year 2. There is some flexibility. If you're not in a co-op required program, you may be able to start like an internship midway through fall semester of year 2. It really depends on your academic college and then our UC International Services and how they determine one full academic year of in-person courses. So more information to come on that, but you will have that experience or be able to have that experience at some point in year 2.
I do have a quick correction about knowing what materials you need for class that Maria had answered. You will find a list of materials needed within your Canvas portal. So when you log into your account, view your schedule, you can learn more about your courses, and there will be a listing of the books and materials that you need. Typically, it's released about 1 week before classes start.
We have a question. Do we pay full year fees or only fall semester fees in August? You pay semesterly. So you'll pay the fall semester fees in August, and this you will get a bill in January, and in January you will pay the spring semester fees.
So we have a question about co-op, working a co-op position full-time on campus. UC did launch a program called Co-op 2.0 about 2 years ago that allowed offices on campus to offer full-time co-op opportunities for students. So there is that opportunity for you to seek, apply, and start as a co-op position on campus for a full semester.
Okay.
Sarah, do you see the one about for students who have ESL 1069? How does that class work? Are you familiar?
I am not. That's probably a good question for Sara Shepard. So there is for all of there's a set person in our office for every different area of expertise. Sara Shepard would be your person on that one.
There's her email.
Yeah. So you want to put her email in there?
So as far as doing,
go
ahead.
We have a question. It looks like Maria answered. How will study abroad option be applicable with respect to COVID-19? I'm not quite clear on what exactly you mean by study abroad. When we use the word study abroad, that's a word geared for students who are at UC's campus going abroad for short-term academic study. All of our study abroads have been canceled through the end of 2020. So it is not applicable this fall at all. We have a question on how do we access or apply to on-campus jobs. All job postings, if you go to the very bottom of UC's main webpage, there will be a employment option, and then that will be, you go to that page, it will show student employment, and it will show a listing of all on-campus jobs that are currently hiring. It's important that you look at the requirements of those jobs. If you are a U.S. citizen, again, it is possible that you could work remotely, but I don't know how likely that is. Most of the on-campus jobs require students to be physically on campus.
So I see a question about scholarship requirements in order to keep your scholarship. You know, typically when students are on campus, they have volunteer hours they have to complete per semester. Those have been waived since you won't be here. You do have to have a GPA of, I believe it's a 3.2 cumulative GPA or higher. That information is located on our finances page on our website. Maria, could you post that web link in the chat? Within that page at the very bottom of the scholarship web page, you can read the specific information about that GPA requirement, but I believe it's a 3.2. I've seen a couple of questions or comments about, is the academic advisor the same as a career coach? No, it's two different people. Again, it's different offices. So each of your college has a team of academic advisors. And then some of your colleges will have career coaches. Some of your colleges won't. And then there's a different office that does pre-professional advising at UC for our students. So you may have an academic advisor and a pre-professional advisor and possibly a career coach at your college too. So there's a lot of resources and a lot of support at UC. Are you going to access all of this the first week while you're at UC in August? Probably not. right? You're going to be focusing on your courses. And then once you're here, typically students start to really get involved in all the resources as far as career coaching and pre-professional advising, and talking more about internships and research and co-op kind of in the latter part of their first year. Because typically students will begin all of those experiential learning options their second year onward. So these are great questions.
These are.
But yeah, don't be too worried. To know all of this and to be speaking with everyone on campus your first month at UC.
Right. Again,
Okay.
we are a huge campus. We have 46,000 students, 20,000 faculty and staff. So there's a lot of different offices, and you will use varying contacts throughout your 4 to 5 years on UC's campus. In addition to career coaches and
Pre-professional advising.
Pre-professional advisors, we also have a co-op office that's completely dedicated, and some colleges have co-op advisors and co-op mandatory courses where you have to take these courses to prepare you for your co-op. So all of this will happen in a certain sequence. You don't have to know all of this or retain all of this information within your first few months. To expect you to do that would be outrageous, and we don't expect you to do that.
And I will say it again, you know, if you have questions about who these people are and what offices they work in and who to talk to, your student orientation leader knows all of this information. So if you want to talk more about the pre-professional advising office, ask your SOL. If you want to talk more about the cooperative education office, ask your SOL.
Yes.
They're a great resource, and they will tell you everything. They're proud to be a UC student, and they will give you all the information you need. Are there any new questions? Let me roll down here.
We did have a question about what.
And this will be the last question. We've got to wrap up here.
Yeah, we did have a question about what you need, what kind of GPA you need to switch your major for the spring semester. Honestly, if you're interested in switching your major, it really depends on what program you're currently enrolled in and what program you're seeking to go into. I think do you know, like, off the top of your head, GPA for competitive programs, Nick?
I'm sorry.
It's a transitioning major question. So we call that a transition, and some colleges or some programs are much more difficult to transition to for others. So for example, our industrial design program is one of the best programs in the world. It's very selective, very competitive to get admission to. If you get admitted into our psychology program at UC and are going to try to switch from psychology to industrial design, even if you have a great GPA, I don't know how likely it would be for you to switch your major. Now, if you're interested in psychology or that's your major now and you wanted to switch to sociology, probably not too difficult. So it really depends on the program. But the selective programs have a higher GPA requirement.
And I will add, if you have been admitted to a program and you're thinking, I may not love it, or I might want to switch, each college has a listing of requirements to transition the program in their college. So if you are currently in information technology, IT, and you think, I really want to be in engineering, that's my goal. Or you're in exploratory studies, right? Or a business program and you want to be in engineering, you need to go to the engineering webpage at uc.edu and look for the transition student requirements, because they'll have a listing there of the required GPA and the required courses you have to complete before you can transition over. Again, like Sara said, some programs it's much more of a challenge to transition because the requirements are much higher. I can speak to engineering. That's one of those colleges. DAP, that's another college. What's unique about transitioning to DAP, the Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning School, is you have to start over. So you can't skip the first semester courses. So, and if you transition to business, they're looking for high levels of math. But again, in each college, they have all that information listed out. And I'll say it again, if you want to ask your SOL, your student orientation leader, they'll be able to point you in the right direction. Okay.
Right. And just in addition to that, because we got a question that's directly related, you taking online courses in the fall will not have an impact on the possibility of changing your major from one major to the next. Again, the vast majority of our students, whether US citizens or international students, are taking online courses in the fall. With the big takeaway from this presentation, just to kind of wrap things up, is reach out to the right person if you have questions about anything. So if you have questions regarding admissions, scholarships, that sort of stuff, come to our office. If you have questions about your class registration, work with your academic advisor. If you have questions about anything related to who to even contact, your SOL, your student orientation leader, is the right person to start with. So make sure you're reaching out to your contacts to get your questions answered. Don't assume things until you hear it from the source that this is the way you need to be doing things. But we have a lot of different people working on your behalf to make sure we have a successful fall semester. And so just use your resources, reach out to people if you have questions. It's our job to be there to help answer those.
Thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Sarah, for being a part of this presentation. I appreciate it very much. Thank you all for attending.
Together. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Have a great one. We'll follow up with an email with an invite to the event and this PowerPoint as well. Take care.